This Redeemed Christian Church of God auditorium is 2 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide. It prides itself with holding the biggest gathering of Christians on earth. A 70-year-old preacher, Dr. Enoch Adeboye, heads the church. Believing that churches should be as common as coffee shops, he opened parishes in 160 countries across the world.
If these people were not getting their miracles, by now they would have stopped coming. If you listen to some of the testimonies, miracles of healings, miracles of deliverance, miracles of childbirth, miracles of success in academics, etc., etc.
Today, miracle preaching is the shortest path to wealth in Nigeria. Preachers and heads of churches have joined the ranks of Nigeria's wealthiest. Pastor Adeboye himself has a palatial home and a private jet, among other luxury items.
There are things you need, which you must have if you are to be efficient.
And a private jet is one of them.
Oh, when you have to oversee churches in 160 nations, you can't do that on a bicycle.
Mohammed Ado, Al Jazeera, Lagos, Nigeria.
In fact, it might be worth your while to explain what you mean by Nigerian junk.
Basically, what's happened in Zambia, and it's fairly true in the neighboring countries as well, is that there have been a number of churches sprouting up, which are really an export from Nigeria. And these churches tend to be all around these big figures in Nigeria. And the big figures tend to be treated with the air of presidents. And the churches are not really about gospel preaching. I mean, I've listened hard, I've looked at the apostles and so forth, hoping I would find some level of commonality. But all I see there is basically African spiritism coming into the church through the back door. That's all it is. If you take a small brochure from the local witch doctor and you take a similar brochure from one of those churches, it's exactly the same. You are being invited to this place in order to deal with barrenness, poverty, lack of employment, a failure to find a spouse for marriage, HIV, AIDS, and so on. It's exactly the same thing you find in the other. The method is exactly the same. The person will do some things for you. So it's not really that you're being taught out of anything, but you come, the person prays for you, the witch doctor does his own things, but it's amounting to the same. And then, of course, you leave your money. So it's really the same thing that's happening. And it's amazing that people are not seeing the obvious parallel. And so that's what I meant in that blog, because it's really just junk at the end of the day. It's not anything worth speaking about from a biblical perspective.
If you want to take 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, the limit, and you need to get 4 houses, 4 cars, and 15 kids and all of that there, if you're doing business, you have a much better chance to be just. Is that correct? But I don't know too many Nigerians today that can afford to have 4 wives if they're working for the government, unless they're stealing. No pun intended. I could have said the same thing in America, so I don't want anybody to think I'm picking on Nigeria. From all of this evidence, brothers and sisters, we need to understand that business is the core of our life. It's not like off to the side. It's not something which is a nafila. It is the core of our life. Everything we do stems from business. We have to mentor our youth to buy and sell commodities, goods and merchandise, so that we circulate our capital among ourselves before it is released to others. Muslims should have, like in a masjid like this here, in every direction around the mosque, there should be some shops that is rented out as a part of the waqf of the masjid, so that Muslims can get their shoes, their clothes, their medicine, their pharmacy, their electronic utensils, their vital needs right here before they go anywhere else. And if that was the case in every masjid, the imam of the masjid, the khatib of the masjid, the president of the masjid, all of them would also be doing what? Business. It would change our dynamics. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cause all of us to be more cognizant about this deen and to be prepared to invest something more in ourselves, so therefore we can invest more into the deen. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. يا الله غفور رحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.